I am from 215 North Everhart Avenue, apartment C10. I'm currently here with many of my peers to come here before you, the school board, to, for what seems to be the first time, hear what the students have to say about the teacher contract and negotiation process. The individuals you hear are all talking as one and the same, one author, one speech, one reason. Mind you, we have taken time out of our days and nights, our after-school activities that still exist, to talk. We have set aside homework and other obligations tonight so that you can hear what our opinions are. It is safe to say that up to this point, in our opinion, the negotiations have been nothing short of shameful. Since the teacher's contract ended 2 years ago, they have attempted to negotiate with the school board. One speaker at a meeting almost a year ago put it bluntly, yet perfectly: 2 monologues put together do not equal a dialogue. That is not just one person's opinion, but the opinion of an entire community. The negotiations that you, the board, have been a part of have been less negotiation and more a restatement and almost the repackaging of an original contract offer, rather than changing what it is that needs to be fixed, even as the economy has improved. The fact that the teachers have been working without a contract now for over 2 years is sad, and not the example the school board should show to be the next noteworthy example of a fiscally responsible contract signed through negotiations. We are students, and due to the circumstances, ignorant ones at that. The main focus for the school district, as is any district during this financially strenuous time, is of course on money and where to cut down on funds. But I assure you, the fact that teachers don't have a contract is particularly puzzling to the most. The main goal of education is, obviously, to educate children. Why is it that then it seems to be a higher premium on saving taxpayers a minimal increase instead of providing the best education? After all, we draw from the 2 of the richest counties in the state while having some of the lowest school taxes per capita, and home values are directly...
Excuse me.
Can I finish my sentence?
I'll ask you to wrap up your comment.
Thank you. And home values are directly impacted by the quality of school districts they're in. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Devanesh. I'm from the Westchester Borough and I attend Bayard Weston High School. If this whole contract thing isn't bad enough, I would like for you to consider something else. I read a news article the other day describing the negotiations talk, and rightfully so, the reporter called the negotiations less of a mediation and more of a talk-up before a professional fight. Even though the metaphor was overused and exaggerated, I was more appalled by the nature and the quotes by which the reporter used to illustrate his point. The association's comments, while condescending and well-driven, did well not to cross the line of slander, but rather describe the situation. The board, on the other hand, seemed to cross the line. One comment struck me as 100% unfair and uncalled for, and my peers agree with me. It is bad enough that the teachers are operating under the conditions and provisions of an old contract, but to slander them for the work that they do and choose not to do, that isn't right. Calling our teachers the leaders and role models of our school undedicated and unprofessional is about as misguided a statement as I've ever heard from a school board, since they are solely responsible for the prestige you enjoy. Teachers have put in countless hours.
Just to be clear, the board has never stated that.
Well, continuing, as we feel it's implied.
Well, I need to correct you when you're not saying something accurate.
There's no question and answer. Let her speak.
They've spent hours of their time before and after school sponsoring and preparing for uncompensated clubs and extracurricular activities so that students can have a better high school experience. They're putting off schoolwork until they get home, since one planning period isn't always enough, especially while class sizes are rising, often neglecting their family time for work. Why? Because they care about us. And after years of putting out this energy, even though not getting compensated for the cost of living and continuing education required for greater pay during the contracted day for 2 years, and agreeing to a pay freeze for 1 year, the teachers finally decide to take a stand, and they are then called undedicated and unprofessional. Even if you claim that's not true, we feel that it's being implied by the actions taken by the school board. and it sounds absurd. And you want to know what's even more absurd? Buses arrive at school just after 7 o'clock in the morning.
Marie Davis.
My name is Marie Davis. I'm from Bayard Weston High School. Teachers are running around ragged because they have so little time in school to prepare for the activities of the day. Science teachers have minutes to prepare for labs, rather than the luxury of taking their time. They have other duties to fill, which is then taken away from the time the students have to talk to their teachers. A physics teacher running around exhaustedly around the room during a homeroom to enhance our learning ability, that doesn't sound very undedicated and unprofessional. We students have yet to really understand the rationale behind the school board's comments, but what we do know is that they are wrong. You said at one point that you want the school district to be an example of what it means to have a harmless and productive negotiation. I think it's safe to say that we're lucky this year. I talk again about the ignorant students and how unaware they are of the inner happenings of the school district. When I mention teachers' contracts or meetings, students tend to tune me out. But as soon as I mention homecoming, it becomes more interesting. The fact that we are still having a homecoming is amazing given our set of circumstances. However, you have put everyone into a sticky situation. Since teachers will not be volunteering, it is forcing parental volunteers to come in and chaperone us during the dance. And if you have ever seen a dance nowadays, let me take this opportunity to invite you, and you can see the problem that we have with it. But it is a dance, and students are happy. This past Thursday, we had our annual activity fair, where underclassmen have had the opportunity to see what clubs there are in the school and to sign up and participate in them. I would like to point out that, to you the stark difference in the school this year, in the fair this year. Not only was it student run, but there were significantly less number of clubs and activities that are available to be participated in. Not because of a lack of interest, of course, but because we are without sponsors who can help with promotional issues and to get students involved. Luckily for all of us, you have changed what it means to be a sponsor versus a member, so we now have outside adults to help run the clubs. Unfortunately, we had almost no time to prepare for this with the fair happening so soon, because the district requires a full clearance and background check for all the sponsors.
Alex Dita.
Hi, I'm Sarah Baca from speaking on behalf of Alex Guida, so we just did a switch. So what happened during the fair? Was it turned out so bad that almost no one showed up to run our clubs? I have to say that my peers are about as resilient as anyone. Some peers were part of multiple tables at the same time, yet everything seemed to run so smoothly. It was obvious that we tried this year not to make it seem different than any other year. We could have fit anyone in our main gym, however, we decided that spreading out into both gyms would be better. As opposed to previous years, where both gyms were at their max capacity. We took up about 1.5 gyms, and I repeat, we were both very spread out this year. We, as a student body, are disappointed with what we feel is neglect that the school board has shown us. They have made it so that a lot of clubs don't exist because no student could get enough support without teachers' promotion. There are dozens of clubs that don't exist anymore that were bright and shining examples of what it meant to be a Westchester student. Math team, for instance, won a trophy last year. Our clubs are successful. They are one of the bright and shining achievements that our school has to offer. Our German club runs a Schnitzel Fest and a film festival every year. Both are very popular. Math trial team competes at regional competitions. Those are 2 clubs out of a dozen. Does that seem right to you that our students are having opportunities taken away from them? Yes, they can find outside adults as sponsors, but that takes time, and they need someone who's familiar to the subject matter, which cannot be always found. Not many opinions are there, or options are there.
Alan Boone.
He plays soccer and he drives.
Hi, my name's Alan Kuhn and I also go to Bayard Rustin. In conclusion, I think we have all said enough. As important as a recap might be, and as helpful as it could be, we argue that it is not necessary. We do not need to rehash all the points we made, because there is no reason to. You can watch the tape. You know what we said, and you need to realize that we set aside hours to work on the speech. Hours that were worked long into the night, long after we should have gone to bed. Everything that you have heard from us students is 100% fact and believed to be a consistent feeling throughout all the student body. Our viewpoint has been heard, and we hope loud and clear. Mr. Murphy, members of the board, we appreciate the fact that your services are also uncompensated for. However, politics are everywhere. Please keep them out of our classrooms. Thank you.
Good evening, Max Knice, 904 Trevor Lane. I'm currently a senior at Henderson High School and was, before this school year, involved in countless clubs and honor societies. Due to the inability of this board to settle a fair contract with my teachers, almost none of these great extracurricular activities have begun to meet. Our academic team, which has won 2 state championships in 3 years, will not be attending the great outside tournaments that prepared us so well in the past. The future business leaders of America, 1 year after sending our first students to the national conference, is currently frozen. Your inactions led to this. The effects of the actions taken by this board extend into the classroom as well. Raising class size requirements as well as maximum caps has negatively affected our education. At Henderson, both AP Physics classes have 31 students, for a classroom maxed out at 29 desks. Business electives has dropped to 5 sections, down from 9 just a few years ago. Coupled with the fact that we still do not offer AP macro or microeconomics, how can we compete with TE, Downingtown, Unionville, or Great Valley? We are now pushing our students to be financially literate. I humbly ask that you strongly consider the effect your actions have on the students. How you move forward with the contract negotiations directly affects us. Thank you.